lane pick. Lysandra, arguably one of the strongest champions in the game right now. Nara's ridiculous, and LeBlanc definitely wants to be taken off the board if you can't deal with those assassins. But Wukong? I don't understand. Impaired has played it a fair bit, and they also played it a lot in MV, but it has caused this Rek'Sai to get through.
Yeah, so Rek'Sai's being picked up as the first pick. Janna looks like to be the answer for Eri. Would be a little bit more standard coming out of Eri for the first game. But yeah, definitely a different pick ban phase coming out of here. Wukong, I think, is still definitely very strong.
Oh, I think so
He gets
too.
all around the jungle with his clone in pretty healthy fashion as well.
Yeah, and I'm excited if it does get through in the next couple of games, be it a best of 3. Again, we're going to have a gigantic night here on the Rift, and I really want to see what he can do. But it is going to be the Corki pickup, recently nerfed, so of course that projectile speed from that Phosphorus Bomb not going to be coming through quite as fast, but of course still wanting to make that one happen. Not going to be able to utilize that Janna shield quite as much either with the AP ratios that he has.
Yeah, he does have some quite strong magic damage coming in there. Does, of course, have that Gatling gun for some shred, and the auto attacks are always going to benefit from it.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like the response will be a Sona Ezreal game.
Oh
wow.
my goodness. Stepping back to Season 2, ladies and gentlemen, as we have the poke lane of old coming through, and of course against Janna Corki, who's also been around forever. So we're going to go back in time when we head to the bottom side of the map, I think.
Yeah, and I like the Ezreal pick against Corki. He kind of is another user, can go into the Trinity Force, particularly with the Sona. I think Trinity Force is a fantastic pickup because if you get that power chord Q down and then get a Q through from Ezreal, it just does a lot of upfront burst damage. So we know what the bottom lane is.
See what else is going to come through. Of course, Maokai is still incredibly strong. We did see Squiggle playing that one earlier on in our series before, and we'll see whether that can be put to great effect. But Impaired looking at this Lee Sin, of course, a really, really strong pick, very prioritized yesterday when we were seeing the likes of Dolphs on that one, of course, his signature champion, and it does look like these might be locked in.
Yeah, so it looks like they will be going with the Lee Sin, one of the few junglers that can actually duel Rek'Sai early game.
Yeah.
So is seen as a little bit of a counter pick. More surprising is the Maokai coming out in the top lane. We've seen it with mixed success. Probably the best pure tank that can be taken into the top lane. But with Kassadin still up, I think that it is a risky pickup.
Yeah, is the issue here going to be without a tanky-ish support, is picking that Kassadin in the top lane might leave them a little bit tankless this game?
Well, I think the Kassadin actually fills the tank scroll absolutely fine.
Oh, my goodness.
So
Kassadin.
I don't necessarily think so. But it will be interesting to see what does go up into the Rich Game Homie. Is, I believe, next the name change.
Oh my... The Oceanic name change curse has come in once again. Rich Homie J, Dre, sorry, is what he's changed it to. But Nex, of course, formerly playing for Avant-Garde Redemption a long time ago, has changed it again and again. So that is very, very interesting. But going for a Rumble pickup here, wanting to burn down the trees in the top lane. Not necessarily a counter pick, but it feels like a counter pick.
I really like this composition coming out of Rich Gang. They've got such good AoE, and they can engage from so far away. If they get an equalizer down, Ari flies across the map, can really see Season 1 up. And
not to mention the crescendo equalizer combo.
Yeah, and we'll just be able to really lock people down, particularly around the level 6 dragon fights that we are seeing more and more come through. So I like the team comp coming out of Rich Gang. I'm expecting to see... Not that.
Wow. Yeah, Youngie thinking about maybe a Lulu pick, but it's not going to be the decision to be made.
I'm expecting to see a Z out of Yo-Yo Youngie, just because I feel that in a 5v5 team fight, there is no one they can pick right now that will beat Rich Gang's team fight. So I'm expecting a split pusher. Jace does hit a nice power spike that will be able to go with Rich Gangs, but I just don't know how they possibly win a 5v5 in this situation.
Do you think it might be going for more of a siege poke comp, utilizing both those rockets and the shock blast in order to try and get themselves around some of these turrets?
Yeah, and that's something that the Chiefs utilize very well. Of course, having Corki also makes up for a little bit of that lack of AP damage out of your mid laner. However, Jace is very good when he groups with his team. That acceleration gate can get them in good positions, with Janna going to be moving very, very well. I just think that with the long-range engage and the flash crescendo that can come out, that they may not be able to survive all the damage that can come out of Rich Gang.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But as these lanes are going to shape up as the game progresses, of course, we've seen Rek'Sai with mixed success, of course, generally coming out fairly strong and building relatively tanky here on this champion that is capable of so much damage. If anyone's seen a Rek'Sai in solo queue, you know that you've been smashed to death by this guy. He can do so much burst damage. Hasn't been the way that our players have been building here. Of course, with competitive play, you really want to be utilizing all the CC that you have and really creating picks for your team as opposed to being that carry jungler, that St. Vicious type player. And so we'll see whether he decides to go with a different build path as Huey this time.
Yeah, so yeah, Rek'Sai's bases are very high, so she does benefit from just picking up an aggressive jungle item and then going pure tank. You mentioned the CC that she provides in her knock-up, and I think it's also just very, very dangerous if Huey does go pure damage in this situation because he is the sole tank on his team.
Yeah, that's true.
And running a no-tank lineup is very difficult. I think that a lot of pressure is on Impaired. I think that if he can get Rich Shah, which is, of course, Pause, a little bit behind on this Sona, then they will be able to pick on the bottom lane and maybe use that as a catalyst to snowball themselves into the late game. However, if everything goes equal in this game, I think Rich Gang's synergy is just going to be a little bit better between their champions.
Yeah, that's exactly right, especially if they get that Wombo down with that the Crescendo and, of course, the Equalizer, because you can then use Rek'Sai to knock people up in the middle of that, True Shot Barrage over the top. You can also have that Orb of Deception coming through for a lot of extra damage in an AoE, so it will be ridiculous. Plus, if they manage to do any catching out of this Ahri with these charms, with the Song of Celerity actually coming through, with that Power Chord actually slowing people down as well coming out of Sona, there can be a lot of pick and catch potential. Plus, if we've got another Blue Ezreal in this game, no one's getting away. It's just not happening.
Yeah, Blue Ezreal chases so well. You throw something like a like a Rumble that can keep slowing, like a Sona that can throw the Crescendo across, speed your team up as well to keep you even closer. Yeah, he just has a really, really smooth curve as well. He does fall off late game. The reason he does, and I say that even though some people might disagree, is because he doesn't have crit. So Ezreal is never going to be that guy that lands 2 crits and changes the team fight for you. And of course, Corki can definitely do that as we do jump onto the Rift.
Here we are, of course, onto the Rift. Ladies and gentlemen, with Rich Gang on our blue side and Symphony on our red side. Of course, 0-0 apiece. This is going to be the first game in our best of 3, our second match of the night. We'll see whether they do manage to rival the times that were built up by our teams before, of course, Climax and Sudden Fear. Sudden Fear eventually managing to come out on top after a gigantic amount of time. But we do have a 5-point defense coming through here on the side of Symphony, and Rich Gang looking to maybe make something happen here on this bottom side. Maybe the first invade that we're going to see this season.
Yeah, they are grouped as 5, but they've gone for Rich Homie 1 to have that Flame Spitter, so not going to be able to catch anyone. A nice deep ward coming out from Maokai actually in the top lane means that they will be able to see if they do return to that side of the map. And it looks like with some nice deep wards coming out, they will just return to standard lanes.
And it's going to be Aerie actually picking up a coin here in this bottom lane, so not looking to go for that harassment type style. Not wanting to grab that Spell Thief's Edge a little bit early and really smack some people in the face for some money. Instead, just wants to slowly gain the gold. I like that, you know, it's just taking a little bit of a calm approach.
Yeah, and both teams look to be starting their jungler away from their duo so they can pick up an early level 2 on both sides. This is something that we're seeing more and more of, and it's important to be able to juggle the aggro. But we'll see how it works out if a team gets an early level 2.
And is it better to go for the Krugs or the Gromp in this stage?
I think that Gromp actually does a lot more damage than Krugs because you cannot kite him as well. And that's what we're seeing right here. He just keeps spitting at you, and he is very, very hard to take down.
Yeah, a little bit helpful with a shield coming out of Janna. But as you can see, a fair bit of damage has been taken here as they are both going to pick up the experience for that one. That being said, Rich Gang going to take a lot of damage on those Krugs as well. So both sides going to be returning to lane a little bit worse for wear, but we'll see how they manage to get out of this one. Of course, Richer or Pause trying to come through for a little bit of extra damage. You can see already hit level 2. Both supports actually gaining level 2 off that camp. Has nice shield to come through.
Nice damage down to Richar, actually. He's going to have to burn a lot of early mana to stay healthy in this lane. And this is really where Impaired needs to get down there quickly. I feel that Richar wants to... Rich Gang plays so aggressive as a whole team, so do not be surprised if you see them do some crazy things. But I feel that that is punishable early by Impaired.
Yep, and especially with the way this lane is going, of course, pushing in favor of Rich Gang at this stage. As we are going to have a Phosphorus Bomb just narrowly avoided here by Day Shifted. Didn't even need to shift.
And we see that lanes are just farming. A nice push coming out in top lane. Rich Homie 1 really getting some work done. He's up some CS and the first gank in the mid lane.
Yeah, first gank is going to be coming through. Huey trying to make something happen here, but does just take a shock blast and be on his way. Thank you very much, Yo-Yo Youngie, for that damage to my face.
Yeah, nice orb coming out of Chenny Boy there, just clipping Yo-Yo Youngie. Does both return damage, so it looks a little bit more bursty at that point. And Impaired, unfortunately, not able to get a gank down in the bottom lane, so not being able to punish this Ezreal Sona, who are continually pushing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And this, well, with the fact that you are a Sona, I mean, all of that poke damage that's going to come through from a Corki, from a Janna, is just going to be nullified by that that W. So just a little bit tough here with all of that sustain in this bottom lane. We'll see whether Symphony can make something of it. Anyway, Impaired going to try his luck with a gank in the mid lane here, as Chenny Boy, of course, not level 6 yet, isn't going to be able to use that ultimate to get to safety.
Yeah, and it looks like continual pressure coming out. Rishka must have some...
Oh, nice charm. He's going to land onto Yo-Yo Youngie. He's going to miss the Shock Blast as well, so Chenny Boy winning that trade quite handily.
But down in CS is Chenny Boy. It's 19 to 26, so quite an advantage. And the bigger minion wave is on the side of Yo-Yo Youngie. So Jace weathering this lane, especially because he got ganked first time round, pretty well.
Definitely doing well. Yo-Yo Youngie actually last hitting fantastically, despite the fact that he may have taken a little bit of extra damage. Impaired just going to get a little bit of money from these tunnels. Doing a little bit of work there. Exactly right. Ooh, Sonic Wave is actually going to land here. Immediately charmed. Very nicely reacted to there by Chenny Boy. Making sure that he doesn't take too much for that one. That's the second time that Impaired comes through.
Yeah, and I feel Impaired's just focusing on the wrong part of the map at the moment. I feel Jace is absolutely fine in this lane, can push out by himself, as there's a little bit of scuffle top.
Yeah, Flame Spitter going to be used again, and he's going to hit the harpoons as well. So Rich Homie going to be doing a lot of work. And First Mate now with no mana at all. Does have that Crystalline Flask, so he's going to try and restore a bit of that, but it's not going to get him too much happiness from this one. You can see brilliant sustain from that passive.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I feel like he's been on no mana the whole laning phase. He's just kind of trying to see as he is still up. He's 31 to 28, so a nice even lane going there. Of course, if there is a champion that is hard to last hit with, it is that Rumble, particularly on that skin.
Particularly on that skin, really? Is it going to make a difference?
Yeah, I feel that Rumble has such a weird attack animation on his other skin that you have to completely relearn it if you are going to pick up the new ultimate skin, so it completely changes it around.
So Rich Homie may have only just started playing Rumble, so he's just, I'm going to learn on this skin, guys. That is very true, in fact. If it is next, we have seen this guy on that Rumble quite a few times. That is definitely true. But so, you know, First Mate up in CS just a little bit, but only 5 behind is Rich Homie Dre. So that top lane, pretty even. Yeah,
definitely. And it's going, as once again, a very calm early game. We're not seeing much aggression out of these teams this weekend. And we've seen internationally quite some surprising things happening in the early game. So nice, calm play. Tier has been picked up by Jay, so look for him to just try and stack that. I feel that the same will be done by Ezreal as well. So maybe just look for these teams to stall it out, wait for their first item power spikes, and then start getting things happening.
Yeah, we'll see whether they can make that happen, of course. Haven't seen very much from Huey. Has wanted to do a few things around this map, paid a visit to mid lane, and then said, no, I'm going back to my jungle. This is too scary out here.
Yeah, it looks like both junglers, actually. I said that a lot of pressure is on Impaired early, as we do jump back into the game to get some work done. It's just not able to really impact the lanes the way I feel he would want to at this point on Lee Sin.
Yeah, that's right. And see whether he can make something work. Of course, if you haven't done anything on a Lee Sin by level 6, it's a little bit upsetting because he does have a lot of early game pressure with that Sonic Wave Resonating Strike allowing him to get onto your face.
Yeah, it's funny because Lee Sin is one of the last junglers left that uses damage as early game pressure. We talk about a lot of early game pressure that can come out of Elise and J4, and they bring damage as well in their own right, but they also bring that CC, whereas Lee Sin doesn't do that until level 6.
Yeah. See whether they can make something work. Of course, does have that...
blocking some Qs from Ezreal to deny some CS. That's very nicely done in the bottom lane.
Good guy, Airy, although they are still behind just a little bit. That pressure being quite formidable in that bottom lane, as we do have Day Shifted heading back relatively early just to pick up his tier. Make sure he gets that stacking as quickly as possible. Also with that pickaxe, so incredibly close to the Manamune early on. So we are probably going to see another one of these blue Ezreals to come into this bottom lane.
But Trinity Force is still a very good build.
You can still do it. You can still do it.
I would like to see a Trinity Force coming out.
It'd be better this time?
I I just like the build better, honestly.
Not quite as annoying. Do you like it in a it's on my team or it's on my enemy team?
No, I honestly think that Ezreal does quite a lot of damage as an auto attack build. I think if you get your ultimate across people for the attack speed, 5 stacks, and transition Ezreal from this cast to AD into late game pick up an Infinity Edge, he actually does a lot of auto attack damage.
Yeah, well, we'll see whether he does go for that one or whether we are going to see yet another blue build with that Iceborne Gauntlet being picked up. Of course, both with a lot of merit. A lot of tunnels on the bottom side of this map on the side of Huey, as Rich Homie Dre is going to be getting a few flame spitter ticks.
Yeah, and they're looking to use their first shop timing to really pressure this Dragon out. They know that Missouri hasn't gone back, as Chenny Boy is looking for a little bit of a pick.
Yeah, the fantastic thing is that Symphony's bottom lane has managed to pick up a little bit of extra CS, earning that one back as Rich Gang had gone back to buy, but we'll see whether they are going to capitalize on this one due to the fact that they now have that item advantage, as you mentioned.
And Haunting Guise has been picked up in top lane by Rich Homie 1. Hasn't had to use his teleport, so if a dragon fight does break out quite soon, he is in a much better position than First Mate, so really puts down some heavy damage.
Yeah, see if you can utilize that particular item. Of course, you just barely need items on a Rumble. It's more about these levels that you can get. Make sure that you have that ultimate.
And the fight over this pink ward in the top lane. First Mate does not want to let that go.
Yeah, he's going to get burned for it. And going to head back. They're just going to be battling this whole time, I could imagine.
Yeah, Rich Homie 1 actually is taking a lot of damage for this. Maybe misplayed that one a little bit. If he teleports now, he's in a bad spot.
Yeah, that's true. It was nice damage from that Arcane Smash coming from First Mate as well, getting that knock-up, making sure he gets that little bit of extra harassment down. Almost 10 CS in the lead on this Maokai as well, so doing very, very well considering the fact that he is a tree.
Yeah, and
would have liked to see the charred Maokai skin.
He has completely backed off in the top lane now, Rich Homie 1. He recognized that he took a lot of damage there as a nice shot blast comes through from Yo-Yo Youngie.
It's an awesome name, Yo-Yo Youngie. Absolutely fantastic. Chenny Boy going to clear out these creeps. I'm just going to search for his mid lane opponent. Going to stop the back as well, actually. So if they are going
to start Dragon up. I think they've walked over a ward, so they must know this is going on because Sona's disappeared from lane. Dragon, of course, does so much damage this early in the game. Sona's heal will help with that one, and it looks like they will just be able to pick it up uncontested.
Yeah, and Rich are actually using those auras in order to give Huey the most protection and damage as possible as this one does come through. Ares actually going to spot them out here. Howling Gale's going to come through, but a nice smite going to secure that dragon. So first dragon going over to Rich Gang with almost no notice from Symphony until Ares did come around.
Yeah, but they will have the timer on that one, so we'll be able to contest the next one. I think they could have contested it because of the fact that they'd both backed away. Rich Homie, once again, trying to go for that pink ward, is successful this time.
Yep, secured it. He's going to replace that ward. In the meantime, his pink ward, of course, still alive here in this top lane, so the pink ward battle has been won.
And the blue buff has been heavily contested by Rich Gang this whole time, so they've denied that off of Yo-Yo Youngie in the mid lane.
First Mate actually doing a lot of damage to Rich Homie 1 here in the top lane as well, so really doing a lot of work, and he used that Flask to get himself back up as well, so definitely a win on that trade. Scrap Shield is going to come through, try and build up that energy.
And the passive continue to tick over First Mate, so he's in a very nice position in this lane, up 15 CS and continuing to do work. The first back has come out for Corki. Day Shifted, of course, went for that Manamune, as we said. Phage, nearly Sheen picked up for Missouri.
Yeah, so that Trinity Force well on its way here. 1,500 gold or so until that one is going to be finished off. And that power spike going to come through a lot earlier here.
Ooh, the potential 2v2 in the top lane. Both junglers, I believe, have been seen.
Not sure whether Huey has been noticed as of yet, but Impaired is going to come through. Does get the Tempest cripple down. The kick coming through as well. First Mate doesn't really want this, but look at that. There's the Revengers. That was ridiculous. Chenny Boy's found his way up. That's going to be First Blood going over to Huey on this Rek'Sai. Another unburrowed knock-up, but he's going to be able to trade this one out. And here's Jace coming in for some more action. And there's the Ignite coming down. Huey's now going to be the focus. Brilliant charm. Going to switch back. Cool guys, don't look at explosions. Shock Blast. Back of the head. Go to sleep, Rek'Sai. You're done. 2 for 2 there, but what a knockup from Huey to stop the resignating strike to come through from Impaired. That definitely saved that team fight. Otherwise, it would have been much worse. In the end,
because Huey actually picked up that kill, I think it's in favor of Symphony. They're also going to be able to pick up a turret, potentially no Rich Homie having to burn his teleport to get back into lane.
Yeah, so he's going to utilize that one. Jace sticking around in that top lane. Does have the CS advantage, but only by about 10. He doesn't have that extra assist as well. And we do have the Deathfire Grasp just getting completed here by Chennyboy, so ready to blow some people up. Powered Shock Blast going to hit. It's going to be Rich Homie 1 just heading back to his turret. He doesn't want to really do much of this. And actually going to back off here. So First Mate with a lot of extra time here in this top lane.
Yeah, nice deep ward coming through from Impaired as well over that blue buff. Over the banana brush. So able to spot out some people. This bottom lane still in favor of Rich Gang, so they're still holding a probably 10 CS lead, but good news for Symphony is they haven't let it blow out any further than what it was, as Missouri misses another rocket.
Yeah, that being said, Airy has been so on point with these shields every time that Q does come through, as Chennyboy actually getting smacked in the face once again. Kicks and punches going through onto this Ahri. Very upset. Yo-Yo Youngie now going to get some free damage on this turret as well. And Impaired,
yeah, that's a cannon
such
creep.
a
That
mid-focus.
will nearly be the whole turret going down. They are sending Huey there, but he needs to be careful because if he gets hit by a Shock Blast here, I was going to say he's in dive territory nearly if he gets hit by that. Yeah,
it's true. Does have his completed jungle item, but it is going to be a damage one. So not going to be doing too much protection here for this Rek'Sai.
Yeah, and we are seeing Yo-Yo Youngie build up quite a big CS lead here. He's going to be able to take down nearly the rest of this turret. So that's 2 turrets that he's got a lot of work done on.
Not to mention almost killed the jungler as well. Nice Prey Seeker going to clear out those last couple of creeps under that turret.
Ooh,
and he's going to limp
Impaired,
away.
he's nearly in the exact spot at the exact right time. Once again, nice ward coming out of Rich Homie to scout out where the jungler is. Allows his bottom lane to continue to play aggressive. They've just been completely in the face of Airy and Missouri the whole game. Yeah,
I'm not even sure whether Rich Homie even saw Impaired there. Of course, the ward coming over the wall just as Lee Sin had gone around there.
Ooh, and once again, Impaired visiting the top lane. They have a lot of CC. Dragon Rage kick nearly back up, so will be a lane game coming through.
Yeah, Impaired has snuck his way in. Rich Homie playing well back here, trying to farm with these harpoons. Second one going to clear one out as well, as First Mate is just going to punch some minions. And Impaired, he might have to spend a lot of time here if he really wants this, but Equalize is going to come through. That's going to spell a back from both the jungler and the top lane.
But that's a win on the side of Symphony because Dragon is up in a minute, and I don't think Equalizer will be up for that fight if they react exactly as it comes up.
Yeah, and that is going to even out the Dragons here as well. Of course, Rich Gang picking up that first one and making sure that you have that extra 8% on those attacking stats is really, really important if you want to make these team fights even, despite having, you know, maybe a little bit of extra gold, a little bit of extra items.
Yeah, and this might even be the turret that's going down. You can see that Rich Homie has decided that he's just walking towards the bottom. Maybe did it too early because it's still 30 seconds. Teleport will nearly be available for him, but it will be up for First Mate. So they're definitely in an advantage around this Dragon fight in about 20 seconds time.
That's exactly right. First Mate heading back to base here, just going to walk to his top lane, not going to blow that teleport like you mentioned, because this Dragon is so important. Ward's now getting swept out across the board. Both junglers focusing around this bottom side river.
So as you can see, 5 seconds into the Dragon, that Equalizer is nowhere near off cooldown. They have sent First Mate back to the top lane, so looking to get some overall map pressure. They need to be careful. Missouri is getting collapsed on.
Yeah, while they're trying to do this blue buff as well. Missouri wisely going to back away, but Chennyboy and Yo-Yo Youngie, it's actually going to be Chennyboy in front on that one. Didn't even need to use his Deathfire Grasp. The charm was just enough.
And it looks like they have started up Dragon while all of that is going on. It's getting so low. Just complete miscommunication from the team. Chennyboy couldn't have joined that fight. He was so low, but they will be able to pick up the top turret in response.
Yeah, First Mate not opting to use that teleport, trading Dragon for a turret.
First Mate can go right now. There is a ward directly on top of Day Shifted that you just saw, but he's just still deciding to push out this lane.
Yeah, and when it's an Ezreal, a little bit slippery maybe, might have been the thinking coming from First Mate, but this is another thing that we can talk about. Second Dragon versus a turret as far as even trade or not.
Yeah, I still think that the Dragons, they stack up extremely quickly if you do not keep an eye on them. Turret, of course, is very nice, but Rumble, he's not known for his laning. He doesn't really mind if he loses the turret early. He's trying to get his team advantages in the mid game, and that's exactly what that pick has done so far.
Yeah, it's done well so far. But, of course, Symphony still definitely in this one. Actually have a little bit of a gold lead due to the fact that they have taken that turret and everything else is relatively even. But with those extra stats, with the extra ability to kill these creeps, is going to be in the favor of Rich Gang at this stage. Day shifted very low on that mana, but it's a bit deceptive because his mana pool quite large with that tier stacking up. Of course, now in the form of a mana mune.
Missouri still hasn't gone back to buy in quite a while. He's sitting on nearly 3,000 gold, so maybe even has that Trinity Force if he goes back. Yeah, he certainly does. Sticking it out in this lane, though. Corki, I don't know if I agree with that from Missouri, because Corki has such a decisive power spike in the game. You know exactly when Corki is strongest. As soon as he picks up those Sork Boots and the Trinity Force. So if you're sitting on enough gold to nearly complete that one out, why would you not just go back and shop for it?
That's a very good point. Here he's making his way down here, so I guess he could look after that turret if it is going to come through. Nice use of the rocket to make sure that he secures the cannon, and not going to miss the experience from any of these caster creeps either. So Missouri's still sticking around, as you mentioned.
Yeah, and this is just continual presence in the lane. I feel this is just going further and further into Ezreal's hands. Nice charm!
Brilliant charm onto you, Youngie. Going to take almost 3/4 of his health.
And all of a sudden, Chenny Boy is the mid laner in. Probably going to pick up the first turret of the game as we see. Oh, that's a really good empowered shot.
Yeah, fantastic work, Huey. Take a bit of damage, but Chenny Boy going to take the brunt of that one, as we do have the bottom lane rotating up. Actually, only half of it. Rich are going to just make sure that they can take down that middle lane outer turret. So a lot more map pressure now available for the side of Rich Gang.
Yeah, certainly, and able to equalize those turrets with the all-important mid-game turret. Although, in the mid lane, Yo-Yo Youngie's turret is, Chenny Boy's turret is also quite low as he's able to pick up the blue buff for himself. And still, in the bottom lane, Missouri still hasn't bought.
Yeah, and Day Shifted actually hasn't bought in quite a while either. So both of these bottom laners.
Yeah, it's 3,000 gold versus 3,500 gold nearly down in that bottom lane.
So a lot of sort of unused statistical opportunities here.
And in the mid lane, Yo-Yo Youngie got caught out a little bit, I believe. His health bar's flashing very low.
Yet again.
Looks like that DFG was used this time around. He has been able to survive. It looks like also Aries' ultimate was blown on that one as well. So nice job from Aries, rotating around the map, making sure he keeps Yo-Yo Youngie nice and healthy. And he was up to about a 30 CS advantage, and now it's back down to 10. Chenny Boy doing a great job on this Ahri.
Yeah, and how useful do you think this very coveted Janna pick is going to be against the long range of this Rich Gang team comp?
Yeah, I think the advantage of Janna in this comp isn't for the disengage, it's more for the heal up and re-engage. If you're able to get a little bit of speed onto that Maokai, get a little bit of health back onto your carries and then re-engage, there's only a lot of upfront burst coming out of Ahri and of course that Rumble, and then it's really up to Ezreal and Rek'Sai to put out the persistent damage. So if they can survive the initial upfront burst, they're still in a good spot to win some team fights.
Yeah, good point, good point. And the other thing as well is we do have that Seeker's Arm Guard coming through for Rich Homie 1, not wanting to finish off that Leandri's Torment quite as soon. And do you think that might be a little bit of an oversight here, considering the fact that there is going to be a lot of flat health being built up, at least in the initial stages here by First Mate?
I think that that's a pretty good build coming out of Rumble players. I think that you definitely pick up the Zhonya's Hourglass before you go into, of course, finishing off that Leandri's Torment for the percentage damage, as you said. I think that just mathematically, the scaling on the ultimate is better than the percentage health at this point in the game, particularly if you go towards something on the side of Symphony, like that, the Locket of Iron Solari, of course.
Oh, that is a very good point. First Mate just going to be clearing out some wards, making sure that he's safe. Not going to be able to find that one there.
So the bottom lane is finally back, and they picked themselves up Lucidity Boots and a frozen Iceborne Gauntlet on the side of Day Shifted, and they've got a completed Trinity Force and a BF Sword on the side of Missouri. So they've just exploded into this game. They are both so strong compared to the rest of the map. If they're able to get in a position for their team to start doing some damage, they're going to be so terrifying.
Yeah, and it seems both of these AD carries have just been left to become sort of agriculturalists.
Oh, nice kick.
Oh, that's going to be the Dragon Rage immediately followed by the flash over the wall by Paws. Nice rocket is going to follow him up, but not going to be killing him at this stage.
Paws, of course, does have that heal, will be able to keep himself relatively healthy. As Chenny Boy's on top of a pink ward, does need to be careful of the collapse coming through from Symphony. Impaired, trying to get Huey off his ward.
Yep. As you mentioned, though, that Iceborne Gauntlet being completed, this next team fight, if it is in an open area where Ezreal can freely kite around, it's going to be very scary here for Symphony to try and deal with that and try and lock him down. That being said, I mean, if anyone can do it, it's going to be a twisted advancing Maokai, and of course the gigantic burst potential from Yo-Yo-Youngie on this chase.
Ooh, and Chenny Boy nearly being caught out there. This is the third dragon of the game, has been started up. They need to be so careful as the poke potential coming out of Corki and Jace. They need to go right now if they want to contest, though, because it is so low.
Yeah, Rich Gang have made decisive movements this whole time. Twisted Advance coming through. We've got First Mate coming right in immediately. That ultimate is ticking, reducing a lot of damage. The brilliant crescendo over the top of the Equalizer. There's a True Shot Barrage as well. And Rich Gang is tearing Symphony apart. Only Misui available. Wondering where the hell his friends have gone. He's going to pop that heal, but it's not going to quite be enough. Fails the flash. And that is going to be the completed ace here for Rich Gang. Chenny Boy securing that one in the end, and they get a blue buff. And that was the fight that they've wanted this entire game, plus they get the dragon. Rich Gang in so much control.
Yeah, they've got complete control of the map now. We'll be able to push the bottom turret out as well. Rich Homie actually missed his Equalizer completely, and they still rolled over the team fight with a perfect ace and dragon. So that just shows...
It looked okay.
It didn't hit anyone.
You had the right idea.
Yeah, put it on the ground. It just could have been better if you had actually put it on a champion.
Maybe put it on the ground where there's people. Okay, yeah, good point, good point. I just like seeing the ground on a little bit of fire. No, zoning Equalizer.
It was definitely a zoning equalizer. But they have been able to push out the wave, so even more CS in their advantage. Chenny Boy 4-1-3, looking to pick up that Zonya's Hourglass as he's next by. Pickaxe and a Vamp Scepter has now been picked up on the 3-0-2. They shifted it. Yeah, I don't know about the BF sword being picked up instead of the Sork boots in that last fight. Just felt that Misui could have been in a much better power spike.
Yeah, potentially. But if you've got that 1550 gold, you just feel, you feel bad if you don't pick up that BF sword. Even if you're on, anyone. I mean, if I was First Mate, I'd still be struggling, to be perfectly honest. Being said, I am not a pro player. Some Qs just going to be used to clear out these waves by Day Shifted here. And Misui not going to be able to go anywhere near this one. Chenny Boy just waiting around so he can throw out that Orb of Deception, and he is going to pick up that blue buff as well. So going to have a lot more mana regen, and more importantly, that cooldown reduction that's going to make sure that all of his abilities are going to be available.
It looks like they're on the side. The support itemization says a lot about this game, what they're trying to do. Of course, Area has picked up that Talisman of Ascension to try and get his team around the map a lot quicker. Whereas on the side of Rich Shah going for an early remove Suns item.
Oh yeah, that one, the Mikhail's Crucible maybe?
Mikhail's Crucible, to just really make sure that Chenny Boy and Day Shifter cannot be locked down.
I thought he just really wanted a drink and to hold on to some strange-looking seed item. Not sure, but we'll see whether he does actually transform that item into the Mikhail's. It's going to be very useful against the Twisted Advance mostly, but a lot of the other abilities aren't really going to be stopped by that one.
Yeah, no, that's purely for the Twisted Advance and making sure that cannot be locked down, as well as the heal is very, very useful. Like when you think that you have someone completely killed, you tend to swap focus, and the heal can really bait people into overcommitting to certain fights.
Yeah, true. Bit of poke going to be coming through on both sides here. Ezreal not going to be around yet. Those Mystic Shots not going to be available in response to these rockets and the Shock Blasts. There's Chenny Boy taking another one to the back of the head.
I feel that Impaired and First Mate really haven't been as impactful as they would have liked to be on Lee Sin and Maokai at this point in the game. Of course, Maokai just continues to scale. He becomes an absolutely beefy monster in the late game and can get fights going for you. But after that role was picked up, he was looking to get more involved in the map and just hasn't been able to really do something for his team. 1-2-1.
Yeah, not quite able to be that tanky Maokai that he really wants to be. Double AP comp, so going to be intelligent to pick up a lot of this magic resist. Do you think maybe he might have overcommitted onto that magic resist?
No, I think
overlooked the Ezreal?
At the moment, it's fine. I think that he can continue to maybe even grab a Locket for himself in the top lane and group up with his team, and then just grab a Thornmail for Ezreal, because you get a lot of incidental health from MR items, and Thornmail is indisputably a fantastic item against what is only a single AD comp.
Yeah, true. That's a very good point. Let's see what First Mate does decide to do, whether he does decide to go for that team helpful build.
I'm actually really surprised that the jungle or support hasn't even started a Locket on this side. of Symphony at the moment. Look at all the AoE magic damage that comes out with the Crescendo. Wow.
Nice dodge by Chenny Boy there to avoid that one. Oh, and the rocket as well, so it doesn't move around. Oh, that is actually going to be the ultimate use here. Chenny Boy going to use the very interestingly times on his hourglass. Two-shot barrage not going to find him dead, and First Mate trying to come through, trying to be that body blocker for his team. Vengeful Maelstrom going to be popped at the end there, but no one going to fall down, and I think that it might have been a little bit of a mistake here by Chenny Boy. Used that so early. I thought he might have been able to get that kill.
Yeah, so Chenny Boy looked for a kill, and then it looked like Symphony were in complete control of that team fight. But the reason that Symphony hightailed it so quickly out of there is because there was a flash Crescendo with a perfect follow-up by Rich Homie in the top lane, who had just teleported in. There is no way you want to fight a Sonar and a Rumble in your jungle. It is just suicide.
Yep, never want to rumble in the jungle as Struck Blast. He's going to be dodged out once again. Chenny Boy with his dancing shoes on most definitely, as Impaired is going to stop those tunnels from coming through.
Yeah, and it's really important to control tunnels in your own jungle, because if that Rek'Sai can get a flank off, it is just very unexpected. As we see some damage going out from Chenny Boy, they've got the lanes pushed up nice and far in the bottom and mid. Dragon is up in 20 seconds, and everyone has their ultimates available, apart from Chenny Boy.
And this is, if I remember correctly, the 4th Dragon for Rich Gang as well. So very, very close to that incredibly powerful 5th Dragon spike that they may be able to get this game if they keep up their Dragon control. As you mentioned, he's going to be just
live and it's going down so quickly.
Yeah, they've got fantastic control over this one. Already at half health. It looks to me like it is going to go down. Richard is going to throw some heals around as well. So that's going to be the 4th Dragon now for the Rich Gang, and Chenny Boy just going to hang out in this mid lane, make sure that he can keep his eyes out for the members of Symphony, who just wanted nothing of any team fight at this stage.
Yeah, and Yo-Yo Youngie, after a dominant early game getting 2 quick kills, has done oh, nice charm.
Brilliant charm. He's going to get shot in the face, though, by a lot of rockets and some... Oh, True Shot Barrage is going to miss everything, actually. Might be something that Symphony can work with, but they are very far behind at this stage.
Yeah, Symphony stacked up, looking to siege down the mid turret.
They've got another one.
Got the Shock Blast that will come through, as well as the Corki missiles, and they've got the blue on Yo-Yo Youngie. So they feel if they can get a siege in this mid lane right now, they can maybe take it, but they need to be careful because the flank's coming in.
It certainly is Rich Homie. There's the Equalizer coming through as well. Not going to be quite in exactly the right space, but there's the Crescendo over a couple of members. Impaired forced to use that flash. And it's going to be the pop of that Hex Drinker as well. First Mate trying to cut around. There's the flash into the Unburrow as well. First Mate getting taken down solo. Mizooie's going to die as well. Brilliant Prey Seeker from Huey. Going to finish off the last bit of damage onto First Mate there as well. And Rich Gang with a brilliant chase.
Yeah, and they're turning straight for Baron with the shred, the percentage HP that comes through from Rumble, as well as how fed Day Shift it is. They're going to do a lot of damage to this and be able to take it quite quickly.
Yeah, it is already down to 2/3 health. Members going down particularly low here doing this one. Chenny Boy's found his way into the fight. Just going to play some defensive duties. Oh, the charm is actually going to land onto Impaired there, as well as the Baron does go down. Really nice work, making sure that Lee Sin couldn't find his way into the pit. That is going to be Huey picking up another objective on this map. And that's 4 Dragons, 1 Baron to nothing at all.
Yeah, they've just been absolutely dominated across the map here, Symphony. They have picked up some nice items for themselves. The Infinity Edge has come through, as well as even more MR on the side of First Mate. But I just feel that not going for that Lock of the Iron Solari has hurt them so much. You saw how much work that Equalizer did.
Yeah, it really, really did. Looks like the Banshee's Veil is going to be the next choice here for First Mate, as the Void Staff. Rich Homie Dre didn't want to finish off his Hourglass. Instead, really aggressive build here with this Void Staff.
Yeah, just looking to get through all that MR that's come through from First Mate, putting a lot of emphasis on still being able to 1v1 the Maokai and get themselves going. At this point in the game, those Baron up creeps are going to be so hard to stop. I don't know what Symphony can exactly do, but they've shown that they can't hard engage onto the team because of how good the re-engage is from Rich Gang. And their poke is just being met from heals from Sonar, and that Mikhail's is being picked up as well now. They're in a really tough spot.
It seems to me like they're relying a lot on First Mate being able to tank almost perpetually, getting these upfront burst spells out of the way, like that Crescendo that's going to lock him in place for a lot of that extra damage, and of course that Equalizer as well. So after that, maybe hoping to make some work happen, but as we just saw, that void staff's going to make that almost impossible.
Yeah, it definitely is. He's got so much magic resistant shred coming through there. And they've just got the kills exactly where they want. 3-0-3 on their AD carry. 5-1-4 on Kenny Boy in the mid lane. The other members don't need any kills, as there's a nice bit of dancing shoes coming through from Impaired. I think that he will be particularly looking at his game and thinking, what can I do for my team early on to get us a little bit more into this?
Yeah, he just really didn't quite have the early impact that he really wanted to. Missouri now does land a couple of nice rockets, but Rich Homie...
He's getting flanked by Huey here. He needs to be careful.
Yeah, Missouri playing up a little bit further than he would have otherwise liked. Charm going to go a little bit wide here, Impaired with his Spidey senses definitely on. But you can see, look at the aggressive warding coming out of the Rich Gang. It's a Christmas tree of blue wards in the Symphony jungle. And this is a lot of what we see across a lot of teams here in Oceania is this strangulation method.
Just able to dodge out that charm. Symphony own none of the map at the moment, as we see Impaired being caught out by Chenny Boy. Does have his ultimate and DFG available. Didn't elect to go for that solo kill. A little bit too dangerous because, of course, the Rich Homie Dre had backed away.
And there aren't a lot of wards that deep in the top side. And, of course, Chenny Boy not wanting to get kicked off. Almost has his own Void Staff completed as well. So, foregoing.
Oh, wow.
First made in a lot of trouble. Huey and Chenny Boy both right on him here as well. Does manage to get that passive off. He's surviving for a long time. Brilliant Monsoon from Airy, going to keep him alive.
This could be the turnaround they're waiting for.
The equalizer in a brilliant position. Huey turning it around. First mate's going to go down. Immediately followed by Missouri. Airy just going to get demolished by incidental damage. And then the True Shot barrage. And the Rich Gang just so much turnaround potential, and that equalizer.
Yeah, I thought that could be the team fight they were looking for, but then, as I mentioned, do not fight a Rumble in the jungle. That completely wiped Missouri off the map. He still had his heal available and just wasn't able to do it. Yo-Yo Youngie, only surviving member. This game is pretty much over, guys. Symphony need to start thinking about what they're going to do to stop Rich Gang, because they're really rolling.
Yeah, and make sure that they can get their morale in a position that they wanted to. Rich Gang just going to head out of this base now as well. Day Shifter just going to shift his way over that wall. Does manage to hit himself with an Estus Flux as well for the star points. Although he's not going to get any of that attack speed for this turret because, of course, it is going to have worn off by now. But it looked definitely cool. As
yeah,
the top
14
inhibitor
seconds
is the
for
only
Dragon as well. That will be taken uncontested. You would have to feel that this is pretty much good night for Symphony in this game one.
Yeah, it's going to be Baron taken. And as that wears off, the 5th Dragon as well. These creeps going to be cleared out by that True Shot barrage by Day Shifted, who does, of course, have that Bloodthirster now in his back pocket, and the last Whisper finished off as well. And 5th Dragon just about taken. There it is. And we've got Rich Gang players burninating the peasants at this point.
Wow,
all of them
Impaired.
on fire. You're in a lot of trouble. There's a tunnel through. Airy's going to go down, and Impaired as well. Brilliant split focus. Just to make sure that both of them die immediately. Missouri now terrified. He's just going to get flashed on. There's the harpoon. Missouri slowed and just annihilated right now.
Yeah, and this has been an absolute crushing out of Rich Gang. They've exploded in this game one.
Just unbelievable performance. It's not over quite yet. But when
this game is over.
You know, you can't say things like that, Spawn. I mean, something could happen.
Yeah,
they could all stop playing. Surrender. Rich Gang could surrender right now.
They could. I don't think they will. Yo-Yo Youngie, probably the only person on his team that is a shining light. Missouri is quite, I guess, strong at this point in the game as well. However, you just look at their counterparts. Nearly a 6-item Ezreal, all of them offensive.
Yep.
Chenny Boy in that mid lane nearly being able to pick up his Void Staff. And look at the difference in the junglers. You have 3 completed items compared to 1 completed islands and a lot of miscellaneous things hanging around for Impaired.
Yeah, a little orange sword and a red rock ain't really going to do too much for you, is it? That being said, something crazy good. No, I'm not. Let's not keep our hopes up. The Rich Gang just looking to power their way through this mid lane. And I think on the side of Symphony, what you've got to be thinking is, what can we do in the next game? How can we keep our spirits up at this stage? Because this game, League of Legends, is all about having that morale, making sure that you can still make the right decisions under pressure. And you can't let yourself get into these positions where when you're intimidated by the enemy team, because you're just going to lose.
Yeah, definitely. And it looks like that they just need to really focus on what they're doing map control-wise. for a lot of this game, you mentioned it, Rich Gang's just had their whole side of the map lit up. Look at the vision presence on the top side of the map as they go around and try and sandwich off the members of Symphony. They've got both waves pushing. Top wave will have super creeps coming in very, very shortly, and with that 5 dragon buff, they will just do so much damage. No, they're pinging out Baron. I don't know about this one. I think that Symphony will not fight this whatsoever, so they're better off. Wow, as they're going in on Chennyboy.
Oh, Impaired getting really excited here. Going for a little bit of that Ward Hop Dragon Rage kick play, but Spirit Rush is going to help out Chennyboy in that case, and he's going to make it to safety. This Baron was alive once, and now it apparently has only about 100 health, and it's going to be dead as well. Huey managing to use his smite there almost unnecessarily, because it seemed to me like a lot of the other abilities hitting that Baron were doing more damage.
Yeah, definitely. And as I said, Symphony just did not want to go anywhere near that fight. Now they've got the Baroned up creeps with the 5 dragon buff as well coming through. Look how quickly that tower goes down.
And Symphony not wanting to start any fights, but also not wanting to get engaged on here as well, as the next inhibitor is going to fall down.
They'll just finish this out textbook. There is no way that Symphony can engage on them, and there's no way they can defend the turrets as, wow, Impaired gets chunked out by Day Shifted.
Yeah, Day Shifted with so much damage and so much mobility and safety as well. And yep, going to be the next inhibitor going down as well. So these guys not wanting to really push through for the base. They want to make sure that they get rid of every single structure on this map. Symphony now with one last chance of any form of defense, and it is going to have to be a godlike
creeps going in on the top inhibitor turret. If they do not go right now, there is no way they can survive this push.
Yeah, there almost isn't a way they can survive it, irrespective. That shield going to do a little bit of help as far as stopping that siege, but look at these super creeps pouring in throughout multiple sides of this base. And the item advantage is just too much at this stage.
Yeah, and Day Shifted with that shield can just go in and get pop shots on the turret whenever he so wants. Doesn't even choose to. Inhibitor will be respawning soon on the top side, so maybe they'll be able to get that one back up. But still,
oh, that's actually going to be a very aggressive play. Impaired going to try once again, but it's going to be the ultimate up again. And the crescendo coming through. Airy with a nice monsoon to try and stop the engage, but Rich Gang have achieved what they wanted. They've broken through this bottom inhibitor turret.
Yeah, Day Shifted flashing and Arcane shifting forward. Now having a bit of a chuckle in the mid lane. He understands that they definitely won this first game. Wow, they're going in for one last fight.
Yeah, First Mate getting very aggressive. Ventral Maelstrom not even used here as Rich Homie's going to use that on his Hourglass to save him. A double knock-up from the Unburrow as well. That is going to be unstoppable. Chennyboy taking out Airy. Day Shifted now trying to get a bit of damage around the side, but no, the focus is going to be on these Nexus turrets, which weren't alive for very long at all. The Nexus now taking fire. Seems like Rich Gang wants some kills, but that's going to be the Nexus falling in such an incredibly decisive game one, won by Rich Gang. That was ridiculous. And Symphony, they've got to look to everything to pull out some more early game control, like you mentioned.
Yeah, that just looked like Symphony had resigned from the game at about 25 minutes in, and we're just stalling for the last 15 minutes. Rich Gang picked up every single dragon, every single Baron, and nearly had the perfect map. The only turret they took on the whole map was the top one when First Mate gave up the first dragon for free.
Yeah, and that was a trade for the second dragon as well. So definitely working out for the side of Rich Gang. And when you've got a team that doesn't take any objectives that aren't turrets around the map, aren't turret, as we do have a replay coming through, and this is going to be First Mate getting engaged on a Chennyboy using an interesting zombie.
Yeah, so this is where you think, wow, First Mate gets absolutely blown up, but he survives. So then he gets kept there, and you think this may be what Symphony's been looking for. They dive in, they overcommit, and that equalizer just absolutely rips them apart. As you can see, that is a 3v4 with Chennyboy being extremely low. They're just able to clean up the whole team fight, and that shows exactly what the strengths of the Rich Gang team was. They had complete zone control with the equalizer crescendo combo, and there was just nowhere Symphony could fight them.
Yeah, they really couldn't, and they had the power pick in Jano, a pick that has always been first or second round picked here, and really just wasn't able to be utilized in the way that they wanted to.
Yeah, well, they didn't play hard engage, which is what Jana really shuts out. They played a lot of zone control.
Yeah.
And the problem is that pretty much all of the crescendos, apart from the last one, were catching Jana in them as well. So they were just getting completely blown up.
Yeah, and of course, pause needs to be mentioned, or of course, Rich Shah here. Some incredible crescendos that game, managing to keep players locked down so they get charmed, equalized, shot in the back of the head, all sorts of stuff able to be just blown at them because Pause was just on point with that ultimate.
Yeah, Pause definitely played well, as did Chenny Boy in that mid lane. But yeah, overall, just an emphatic win from Rich Gang.
Yeah, really, really ridiculously well played. We'll see whether Symphony can come back through and try and take one back and bring us to another 3-game series.